My ex is coming to stay for a few days, my boyfriend said. I hope that won't make you feel uncomfortable. Picture this. You're standing in your own kitchen, coffee mug frozen halfway to your lips while your boyfriend, the man you share a bed with, tells you his ex-girlfriend is moving into your space for a few days. Not asking, telling. And then get this. He has the audacity to ask if you'll feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Oh, honey, uncomfortable doesn't even scratch the surface of what I felt, or what I discovered when she actually showed up at my door with her suitcase and that knowing smile.
Hey, story lover. Welcome to the Narrative Hub, Reddit Stories. Believe me, this adventure gets wild, but it's only epic with you. Seriously, you make this possible. Want more stories? Greater adventure? Smash subscribe right now. Smash like. Comment below. Let's go.
My name is Lisa. His name is James, and her name is Brenda. James and I were good, or I thought we were. We were solid. We were at that comfortable stage where you've stopped trying to impress each other and just exist. Maybe that was the problem. We were too comfortable. He dropped the bomb over breakfast. Oh, he said, like he was telling me the weather. Brenda's plumbing burst. She's got nowhere to go. She's coming to stay for a few days. I just stared at him, the air sucked out of the room. Stay with us, in our apartment. It's just the guest room, Lisa. It's no big deal. Then he hit me with it. I hope that won't make you feel uncomfortable. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. It was a test. And in that single, perfectly polite sentence, I knew this wasn't a request. The game was already on. No, I said, forcing a smile that felt like broken glass. Of course not, we should help. Oh, I was past uncomfortable. I was at DEFCON 1. This wasn't a visit. This was an invasion. I decided right then I had two choices. I could be the cool, understanding girlfriend, or I could win. I chose to win. She arrived that night. 72 hours. That's what he promised. I set a ticking clock in my head. 72 hours until the ghost of his past was out of my house. Brenda walked through that door, and the first thing I noticed was that knowing smile he mentioned. It was a smile that said, I was here first and I can be here again. What did she do when she walked in? She didn't just put her bag down. She walked straight to the mantel, looked at a photo of me and James from our trip to the coast, and moved it, just slightly, to the side, to make room for her own phone to charge. A silent war. It had begun. That night I felt the shift. Our apartment, my home, suddenly became a pressure cooker. Brenda was sleeping just 20 feet away from our bedroom. I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m. I heard murmuring. I slipped out of bed. There they were, in my kitchen, James and Brenda, heads close together, laughing softly, sharing inside jokes at my dining table, whispering so I couldn't hear. I saw him touch her arm. It was fast, but it wasn't friendly. It was familiar. I went back to bed, my blood running cold. The next day, I tried to reclaim my territory. My secret plan, as I'd called it, was to be the perfect host. So perfect, so accommodating that Brenda would look like the intruder she was. I'd kill her with kindness. I'm making dinner tonight, I announced, all smiles. James's favorite, lasagna. Brenda, without missing a beat, looked up from her phone. Oh, that's sweet. Does he still not eat ricotta? He always hated ricotta. I remember I used to have to make it special for him with a bechamel. James just shuffled his feet. Oh, ricotta's fine, Bren, it's fine. But the shot had landed. She knew a secret about him I didn't. The cool girlfriend act was failing. This was cutthroat and I was losing. That afternoon, day 2, the pressure cooker was hissing. I was loading the laundry, trying to find some shred of normalcy. James had left his jacket on the sofa. I picked it up, and something fell out of the pocket. It wasn't a receipt. It wasn't keys. It was a single, screaming red flag, a pharmacy printout, for prenatal vitamins. My heart stopped. I read the name on the prescription. It wasn't mine. It was Brenda's. I stood there, the paper shaking in my hand. The burst pipe was a lie. The few days was a lie. The whole thing. This wasn't a friendly visit. This wasn't an inconvenient detour. This was a staging ground. My perfect plan, it just went up in flames. This was no longer a game about winning my boyfriend back. This was an investigation to find out if I even had a boyfriend at all. I went into strategist mode. I had to know the truth, all of it, before the 72 hours were up. I watched her. I watched them. I was a hawk. I noticed she never drank the coffee I made, only bottled water. She turned down the wine I offered with dinner, claiming a headache. I saw the secret looks they exchanged when they thought I wasn't watching. I saw James rub her back, low, protective, when she sighed. It was day 3, the final day, the supposed checkout day. Brenda was in the shower, the guest room door was open. I'm not proud of what I did next, but this was war. I went into her room. Her suitcase was open on the floor. Tucked into a side pocket underneath a stack of clothes was a small, zipped bag. I opened it. The prenatal vitamins were there, and underneath them was an ultrasound photo. A tiny, grainy black and white image, dated just 2 weeks ago. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I suddenly couldn't breathe. My entire relationship, my entire life, felt like it was turning upside down. I finally understood the real reason she was here. It shattered everything I thought I knew about the man I loved. I walked out of that room, the photo clutched in my hand. I walked into the living room. And I stopped dead. James and Brenda were sitting on my sofa. Close, too close. They had his laptop open. They didn't hear me. I looked at the screen. They weren't looking at hotels. They weren't looking up plumbers. They were on a real estate website. They were looking at 2-bedroom apartments. For rent. Found one, James was saying, his voice low. It's near the park. It'd be good for the baby. The lid didn't just blow off. It detonated. Uncomfortable, I said. They both jumped, scrambling apart. James's face went white. Lisa, he stammered. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? I held up the ultrasound picture. My voice was dangerously calm. That my entire relationship is a lie, that you're starting a family with her, in my house. Brenda stood up, and for the first time that knowing smile was gone. She just looked desperate. I told him we had to tell you from the start, James. I told you. Lisa, listen to me, James said, standing, holding his hands out. It happened, one night. A few months ago, I was confused. I was going to end it with her, I swear. And then she told me. Told you she was pregnant, I finished, my voice like ice. So you decided to move her in. To, what? Ease me into the idea. You were going to replace me, James. Was that the plan? This was it, the moment that reveals everything. No, James shouted, his face crumbling. No, Lisa, that's not. It's not my baby. Silence. The world just stopped. I looked at him. Brenda looked at him, her eyes wide with pure, undiluted panic. What? Brenda whispered. What are you talking about, James? And then the real truth came out. The secret he hadn't just kept from me, but from everyone. I can't have children, Lisa, he said, his voice cracking. I'm sterile. I've known for over a year. I never told you. I was afraid you'd leave me. It shattered everything, all over again. The betrayal wasn't what I thought. It was deeper. It was a lie that had been living under our roof long before Brenda ever showed up. All eyes turned to Brenda, if it wasn't James's. He promised, Brenda suddenly sobbed, backing away. He promised he would help me. Help you? I asked. The real father. He's not a good guy, Brenda choked out, tears streaming down her face. He's dangerous. I couldn't tell him. I was scared. I came to James. He promised he'd say it was his. He promised he'd protect me. He promised we'd be a family. He'd get the one thing he wanted, and I'd be safe. I stared at James, the man I loved. He wasn't an adulterer. He was a coward. He was going to raise another man's child, a child he was pretending was his, and lie to me about it forever. He was using her to get the family he couldn't have, and she was using him as a shield. And I was just the collateral damage, the convenient, comfortable life they were going to bulldoze. One of us will be gone. I'd thought I was right. I looked at James, at his pathetic, broken face. I looked at Brenda, a woman so desperate she'd build a life on a foundation of lies. This wasn't a test, I said, my voice finally clear. It was a sentence, and I'm not serving it. I went to the bedroom. I didn't pack a suitcase. I grabbed my purse, my keys, and my jacket. Lisa, wait, James yelled, following me to the door. Please, I can fix this. I turned at the door and looked at him. He had the audacity to ask if I'd feel uncomfortable, I said, as if to the room itself. The truth is, I didn't feel uncomfortable. I felt erased. I looked at the two of them, huddled together in my living room, trapped in their toxic, desperate bargain. But as I walked out that door, leaving them with their web of secrets, I realized something. They weren't a team. They were two drowning people pulling each other under, and I was finally breathing. I walked out. I didn't look back. What happened next? After I left, that's a whole different story. But let's just say the dangerous father, he eventually found out where Brenda was staying, and that ticking time bomb we were all sitting on, it finally went off.